How to know when you're ready to start a business. Let's go ahead and jump on this topic. I'm very excited about this topic, how to know when you're ready to start a business. Because I definitely do know that there's some clear signs when you know when you're ready to start a business. So I got 5 things that I want to go over with you today on how to know when you are ready to start a business. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the reasons is I was reading the statistics and it just shocked me. Did you know that 85% of Americans hate their jobs? That's a big number. 85% of Americans hate their job. And there's an increase of getting a heart attack. The increase of getting a heart attack goes up by 20% on Mondays. And of course, that's a clear connection there with as far as the 85% of Americans hate their jobs. So the first reason that I want to lay out there, if you are one of the people that hate their jobs, at the end of the day, we only get to live this life once. And you have to make sure that you're very conscious as to how you spend your time. And, we spend majority of our time at work. We spend more time at work than even we spend with our family, especially in this country, in America here. So that's kind of the number one thing that I should say, if you hate your job, and if you're tired of feeling that you can do better than what you're currently doing. If you're in a cubicle or, whatever your job is, if you're in construction and you constantly are having that feeling that you can do better, your life would be better, and you're capable of doing better. Another thing is, especially in today's world, we all, have social media. Everybody has a smartphone and we're influenced by these things. Everything that you see and touch and interact with, you're influenced by. And if you're constantly scrolling on social media and you see all the people, all your heroes, or maybe even your friends, people that you went to high school with, living their best life, and you know that you're capable and you sense that frustration within you, you're definitely, this is a sign, again, to me, in my opinion, this is the universe trying to give you a sign that it's time to change. It's time to change. I think that our society these days, we don't respond to these, a part of our body aches, or if we feel sick, we usually just take some type of medicine to kind of just kill whatever the symptom was. So we need to pay attention to these things. If you're sick of making excuses, if you're one of those people that, I'll start the business next year, or I'll start the business once the kids graduate out of high school, or I'll start the business once this happens, or I'll start the business once I get a divorce, whatever your reason is, I would urge you to start the business now. Maybe you don't go full time, but you go part time. Maybe you start coming up with different concepts and ideas. But that's one of the reasons that I would say, if you want to kind of gauge if you're ready to start a business, is if you kind of share some of those things that I just talked about. If you're tired of feeling that you can do better, if you get that sense of frustration that, especially when you go to social media and we're influenced by these things, or if you're just sick of making excuses, those are kind of sign number one. Now, the second reason is that I should say that is a sign that if you're ready to start a business, if you're clear on your business model. Now, if you're not clear on your business model, you're not ready to start your business. Let's dissect this. Let's unpack what I'm talking about. There's a difference between a product and service and a business model. Now, again, regardless of what you're doing, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, your industry, your product, it's either a product or a service. You're going to either be one of the two. So that you're making a product or you're making a service. Now, you also got to think about the type of business model that you're going to be using to execute that product or service. Let me give you an example. You have cable services. They used to, offer cable TV where we paid $70 or $100 a month to be able to have TV where you can watch it anytime. Now, Netflix came about, and Netflix was kind of entertainment, the same industry, but they had a different twist. It was more so on demand. You can watch movies or TV shows or whatever it is on demand. And you only paid a fraction of the cost, only like $7 or $10 a month. Now, again, it almost seemed ridiculous for Netflix to come up with this idea at that time. How could they even do this? But come on, look at it now. Netflix is, who doesn't have a Netflix account? You see what I'm saying? So you got to think about your business model, and you have to make sure that you have a scalable business model. Let me give you an example as far as a product. Well, let's just say you make the best jam and you know your jam is the jam, okay? Nobody makes better jam than you. Understanding your business model will help you in a few different ways. Because sometimes most people think, okay, they start talking about price and they're like, well, they're gonna price their jam just like the jam at the store. Let's say they sell the one at the store for $10 and you say you're gonna price your jam at $10. But you're not really thinking about your competitor, what I call the value chain of your business industry, of that product. Your competitor is selling this thing for $30, but they have maybe 2 or 3 big manufacturing plants. They have, so many workers. They've paid for that shelf space. They've done all of these things. And this is when I say most entrepreneurs, especially in the early stages, they're drunk on their passion, okay? Okay, I would say it takes passion plus execution to equals results. It takes passion plus execution to equal success. But you must focus on the execution part as well. When I say that entrepreneurs are drunk on passion, this is what I'm referring to. They really just are focused on their idea, their product and service, how much it could change things, how much is so much better than anybody else. But they're not really focused on the execution. They're not focused on the business model. They don't consider things like the value chain of their industry. Why is that company charging what they're charging? What is the cost of acquiring a customer? What is the cost of marketing? These are the costs that people that don't think about when you're just in your kitchen and you make the best jam. So you got to understand and have a clear business model. This is beyond the product and business idea, okay? So that's number 2. Number 3, I want you to consider, are you truly offering a solution to the marketplace, okay? Great businesses, new great businesses that actually scale and become successful must be offering a solution to the marketplace. Ask yourself this, sit down and really go to the mirror, go to the bathroom if you have to, and ask yourself, what is my edge? What makes me different? Why would somebody wants to come to my store instead of going to the other guy's store? Okay, so what is your edge? And also ask yourself, are you the best person to solve that problem? What makes you the best person to solve that problem? What skills do you have that makes you the best person to solve the problem? What qualities do you have? Do you have a long-term mindset? Because if you are going to be the best person to solve that problem, can clients actually rely on you long term? These are the things that you have to really consider. Again, I would say passion plus execution equals success. Passion plus execution equals results. You have to think about how are you going to execute this thing to position yourself to be competitive in the marketplace. That's another thing that you kind of, need to, consider. Another thing that most businesses, or entrepreneurs I should say, they usually think about when they're thinking about starting their business is all this money they could make. And I can assure you right now, if the reason why you're trying to get into business is just to make money, clearly you're in a business to make money. Let's just be clear on that. Let's not, try to say, but if that is your main reason, then you're just not going to make it. And this actually shocked me. Statistics say that almost 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Okay, and almost up to 70% of businesses fail within the first 70 years. These are the business owners entrepreneurs that I would say they're drunk on passion. Okay, because those numbers are very shocking. Starting a business, it's not cheap. Okay, it requires a lot of investment as far as the most valuable thing that we have, which is time. It also requires money. I have people that have taken equity out of their house. They've spent their 401k money that they've saved up for so many years. It's a pretty big investment. And to see these numbers, 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years and 70% of businesses fail within the first 10 years. It's shocking and it's life-changing. You have to make sure that you focus on actually solving a problem in the marketplace and you're serious about what you're doing. And another thing that I would always say, you need to have an execution plan I've talked about before. You need to have a timeline of growth. You need to think about exactly what you're doing. You need to also, I heard this before somewhere. I always say that if you want to get yourself to the point that the executive of one of your competitors knows who you are, just listen to what I just said. If one of your competitors, if the CEO of the competitor of one of the companies that you're going after or you're trying to compete with, if they don't know who you are, then it doesn't really matter. I always say that when I'm starting a new venture and I'm starting a new business, I give myself a timeline, okay? And this is kind of a game that I play with myself. This is part of my execution plan. I give myself a timeline as to how long it will take for my competitor to actually know who I am. Okay, and once I get there, that's when I know, that's progress. That's how I kind of gauge, where I'm going. And another thing that I want to add, so that's number 3. You have to make sure that you're offering a solution to the marketplace. What is your edge? What problem are you solving to the marketplace? You have to take it seriously. Focus on actually becoming an asset to that industry. And again, make sure you have a great execution plan. Those are the things that all falls under offering a solution to the marketplace. The next thing that I want to talk about is, you want to make sure that you have a scalable business. In order to have a scalable business, you have to focus on calibrating, okay, your business, your approach, your systems. Calibrating is to, look at it as a gun. When you get your gun, you want to look at your target, your target as far as your goals, your milestones, and whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And you have to calibrate it. You have to make sure and make certain alignments and make certain changes. Just give you a few examples. When you're starting out with your team, because initially when you start out with your business, you're pretty much doing everything. You're the marketing director, you're the one, you're the secretary, you're playing phone, you're the marketing, the person that's doing the website, you pretty much do everything, And as you grow, you have to focus on starting to build a team that can actually be good at what they are. So you can focus on playing your position, being good at what you do. I can tell you right now, as far as Parenting Consulting Group, when I started, yes, I did do it all. But right now, I'm good at funding. I'm good at working with entrepreneurs. I'm good at taking a business from initial foundation up to being a successful business. But if you ask me about, Facebook marketing or something about a website or, some form or code is not, I don't know nothing about that crap, okay? I talk to somebody, and there's somebody that is good at doing that I hired, that is part of my team. So I can focus on what I'm doing. This is part of the calibration, and you have to be a good leader. So you have to, and you also not just calibrate the business, calibrate yourself, you have to know how to make certain adjustments with your team as well. And this is kind of how you focus on making a scalable business. So you have to kind of understand that growing a business is going to take you to a lot of different growths. It's going to make you a better person yourself. You're going to go through some challenges in your business life that are going to affect you in your personal life as well. So, it has a tendency to even get you to be more spiritual in a way. But anyway, we can save that for a later video. And then lastly, the 5th reason to know if you're ready to start a business is consider your whys. Consider, why do you want to get into business? Because again, during those days where things are not going well, you're going to need a bigger why as to why you're doing what you're doing. For my example, I did what I did because of my kid. I started parenting in 2011, and I just recently had my firstborn. And I needed to be able to have the ability to spend as much time as I could with my family, and also being able to provide. And the best way that I figured out I could do that was through entrepreneurship, through business ownership. It allowed me to create my own time, to be able to, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, work before my son wakes up so I can be able to spend time with him. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up right there. As I said, the 5 reasons you should consider in order to know if you're ready to start a business. And I know we talked about it a lot. You definitely want to watch this video again. Number 1, if you're one of the 85% of Americans that hate their job, if it's affecting your health, if you're having some of those symptoms that I talked about, definitely these are signs that the universe is telling you, infinite intelligence, God, whoever you believe in is telling you that you need to do something different. You need to change before you end up being one of the 20% of Americans that have an increase in getting a heart attack on Monday morning. Change something about it. Number 2, you need to be clear on your business model. If you're not clear on your business model, if you do not understand the value chain of your industry, if you do not understand where you fall under, you need to get clear on those things. Number 3, you must be offering a solution to the marketplace. You gotta understand that you gotta have a much better reason than just making money. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, you have to have a scalable business. You have to have the mindset to know that you're gonna need to calibrate yourself, calibrate your team, calibrate some of the changes in your business in order for you to be successful. You're not gonna know everything just coming out the door. Nobody does, okay? The most successful business owners they have failed more than they have succeeded. They will tell you that themselves. Number 5, you must understand and have a big why. You have to have a good reason as to why you're getting into business, because it is a journey and it's a long journey. It is those get rich quick schemes that you see on Facebook and Instagram. That does not exist if you want to make a successful long-term business for the reasons that you want to get into business. So anyway, I have a free training. If you want to work with me personally, if you're one of those entrepreneurs out there that are looking to start a business, want to get out of your 9-to-5 and actually get that business idea launched, definitely click some of the links here below. Or if you have an established business and are looking to expand and grow your business, get it to the next level, you definitely want to get in touch with me as well. Again, Brian Otieno, owner of Pennington Consulting Group. I thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.